on my Facebook, both of my Facebook pages, my personal Facebook page, which is Marianne Hanson. You can join that, where I've been talking about put yourself in a position to receive. I might do that on here another time. The other video that I did on my business page, Marianne Hanson Counselling Service, is called Finding Peace During Uncertain Times, and I'll be doing the same video live stream on my other YouTube channel, so you can check that out. This is just a different one that I want to talk about, and as I've said, I'm not going to be too long. And just to clarify as well, I'm not a financial expert. I'm not, some of the stuff I'm going to be talking about, it's just my personal opinion, but also it's coming from some of the work that I do, obviously as a coach and a counsellor. And that is just about preparing for the future, and I've called it, I think, Plan for the Future reading. So this came up because I was on TikTok yesterday. And thanks for joining. Whoever joins, feel free to join the conversation. So I was on TikTok yesterday. I'm just going to do the charger. And I was listening to some conversations and I was thinking, is this really what people think? But it is. It is. And it could be a generational thing. It could be just people in different generations. It could be just how things are. But some of the things people were saying were things like... they're not saving in their pension anymore because they don't know if they're going to live to 75. Or then they were saying things like they're in lots of debt and they might as well get into more debt, and what's the point in saving? And because the lady came on, I suppose the person who did the post was talking about that she travels all the time and she uses her credit card and she doesn't worry about paying bills and she doesn't worry about this and that because what's the point? She was doing the YOLO thing, you only live once. And to me, even the whole saying of like YOLO, you only live once, doesn't make any sense. Of course, you only live once unless you come back reincarnated. But the point is you can choose what type of life you want to have. You don't have to say every time you make an impulsive decision to do something which you can't afford, or something which is reckless, or something which is risky. You don't have to use you only live once to justify it. You can just say you want to take this risk because that's what you want to do. There were people saying things like, they can't afford a new car, they've got £80 in their bank, they can't have any bills, but they've still signed a finance deal. Or they were saying things like, I blew all my money on a trip to Tokyo, I'm going to have lots of memories from it, I've got no money to buy milk. And I was thinking, I don't know if it's just like times have changed, but to me, like, I wouldn't even go on social media and say something like that. I'd feel a bit embarrassed to say it, but they were not feeling embarrassed. Lots of people around them were liking what they were saying, and it's fine. I'm not taking the mickey out of anyone. The point is, to me, like, the future you want can only become the future you want if you start planning it now. So, hi Andre, thank you. Thank you for the compliment. You know, it's that there's a book called Be Your Future Self Now. So on my other channel, no, I'm not going to answer that. So on my YouTube channel, which is my other channel, Marianne Hanson Counselling Service, I did a review of a book called Be Your Future Self Now. And that book was talking about the future that you want. You have to start building it now in the present. So my feeling is, if you don't have any, if you're not planning for the future, obviously, right, it's a given that no one knows how long you've got on the earth. No one knows that. So putting that argument forward that you don't know how long you're going to live for. So people were saying as well on TikTok, they don't think they're going to live to the age of 60. They were saying when they're a pensioner, they'll worry about it then. They were saying, oh, and that's fine. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Andre. I'm probably saying your name wrong. Andres, yeah, I can't pronounce it. Of course, no one knows, Millikan, you said no one knows. You don't know about the future, but does that mean that today then, because you don't know if you're going to get through the rest of the day, that you don't make any plans, that you don't do anything? Because if we all thought like that, then, you know, what's the point? You might as well give up. But the point is, financial planning or any planning, because the areas I'm thinking about when you're future planning is to do with financial planning, lifestyle planning, career planning, relationship planning. To me, you have to be consistent with all of that. You have to take it seriously because you have to see the bigger picture. So a good example of financial planning, or preparing anyway. I was saying this to someone the other day. I know that lots of people are living paycheck to paycheck, okay? I'm not in a brilliant position. But I'm always constantly, whenever money comes in, I'm always thinking about generating that money. It's like an energy thing. So part of it will always go into a savings fund. Okay, what someone's put in. Okay, so let's just have a look. Remove. Sorry about that. So people are kind of always talking about they can't save. And it's genuine. If you're only earning a certain amount of money, you are going to feel like saving is impossible. So there's a few things you can do in that direction. If I put £1, £5, £10 or £20, whatever it is, into a savings fund, so I've got three different accounts. I've got my current accounts, which is when money is bills and things are paid from. I've got a ISA, which is my long-term. When any money that goes into my ISA, I don't think about, because I see it as being, hi, I'm Grayson. I see that money as being money that once you put it in there, don't think about it. That's your long-term fund. Then I have an emergency fund, which is money that I know that I'm building up for an emergency. I have had up to £3,000 in there, and I used that for an emergency, and that was for a bereavement, a family member. All that money went straight to that, because the costs were so high that even if everyone in the family had put everything they had, there still wasn't going to be enough. So that's where that went. I use it for car repairs. And then I have another fund, which I just refer to as a saver account, but I treat it as being money that you can take in and out of. And that's usually for things like short breaks, things that I want which cost more that I don't want to use from my salary or from income. So the point is, how I see financial planning or preparation, you've put, yeah, okay, if you can stop trying to make me laugh. So if I see it as being everything that you do in the current moment and the present moment that you're planning like for the future. You're not saying it as though, okay, I definitely know that in 40 years time or in this amount of time that I'm going to have a certain amount of money or a different life. You're doing it because you're saying that it's trying to get rid of the unpredictability. It's trying to limit some of that uncertainty. The worst feeling in the world is when you don't have money for something that you absolutely need. I'll give a good example. When I'm self-employed, so I get my money mostly through clients, through contract work and through invoices. When I couldn't work for a week because I was sick, I'm based in the UK. One of the things that really helped me is, instead of having to wait for a doctor's appointment, I went to a private doctor, and even though I paid them a lot of money, they resolved the issue because they found that they assessed what was wrong with me, and then that helped me to be able to get the medication, and then I was fine within like a short period of time. Not only the fact that I lost money because I couldn't work, so I needed to have that. Luckily, I could still pay my bills because I had money saved. It's just, I just don't get it. I just don't get this whole idea of just like saying that like there's nothing's worth planning for. It's the same as lifestyle planning as well, because no one knows how things are going to go. You don't know if the economy, what's going to happen with the economy. You don't know, but we've never known that. We've never known any of these things. Nothing really changes like completely. Things just change in the same way that they've changed before. So the idea of planning for the future is just so that you know with confidence that if something was to happen, you're halfway there, even if you're not fully there, because some things are so unpredictable that you're probably not going to even you've not even thought about them. I just don't get this idea of not doing any planning at all. Even it's like people who are in relationships with people, and someone said it the other day. There was a discussion about whether people should have their own income and all this sort of thing. There was a person on TikTok, and she came on TikTok and she said that she's in a relationship with someone that he works full time. She, one moment. So she said that she's in a relationship with someone. He works full time. She's got a 1-year-old, I think she had, and she's a stay-at-home mum. She's quite young, and then she's pregnant as well, and she was moaning on TikTok that he doesn't do any work when he comes home from work. And I mean, I don't get this as well. This is another thing that I don't get. I don't get people that come onto like social media when they're in a relationship with someone to kind of complain about their partner, and then they want everyone else attacking their partner as well. What type of relationship is that? Because that tells me loads of things about you as a person. Because if you can go on social media and say negative things about your partner, then what are you doing in a relationship with him? Why not talk to him? But it went the wrong way anyway, because everyone was just saying, why don't you leave him, or why don't you talk to him? No one was saying to her, yeah, we agree with you, your partner's lazy. They were also saying, well, he works. But the point is, if you're an individual and you're going into a relationship situation, you should never be in a situation where you don't have access to money, where you don't have your own either savings or your own income. That shouldn't, to me, that's just that has been something that makes common sense to me. That is how my parents raised me, and that's how they were. My dad had a job, my mum had a job, they both had an income. And when they separated, my mum always had an income, she always worked. My dad had his income, he contributed towards us, so we had things we needed. But this is where planning comes into it, because if you then separate from that person, which lots of people do, relationships don't always last forever. In fact, most relationships don't last forever. That person can either pass away, that person can get sick and then they can't work, which that happens a lot as well, or someone's made redundant. You know, the idea of it's a lifestyle choice. Again, if someone wants to stay at home and someone is saying that one person is prepared to be, I don't know if I could be in a relationship where there's just one person earning an income, because you put it's too much pressure on one person. It doesn't matter how, like, if their job is the CEO of a company and they're earning millions. No one knows. That's the whole point about uncertainty, about what's going to happen. What about when that person gets kicked out of their job? Then there's no other income, because there's never been. There's always things people can do, and this is where the planning comes into it. Not just financial planning, relationship planning as well is another thing to think about for the future. So when you're in this relationship and everything is going well, it's things like moving into someone's property. Again, it still comes down to financial as well, but also when they then just having one person on the lease, or being one person on the mortgage, which, you know, to me, how I see it is that you can't plan for everything, but you can plan for some things. You can't know what's going to happen, but you can put yourself in a position where you've done enough planning and preparation that you're never going to be in a position where you are, it's detrimental to you. That's never happened to me, because I've always worked, first of all. I've always had my own income. I've never lived with anyone. And if I did move in with someone, then I'm still going to be putting those savings aside. I'm still going to, we're going to probably be jointly on the mortgage, or there's going to have to be something in writing that says that if you kick me out, I'm getting something from it. You know, I'm not going to be living with someone for 10 years and then they just kick me out and then that's it, I leave with nothing. It's not going to happen. So that's like where the thing about planning is as well, is you got to think about, it just makes you feel more secure. You can respond to emergencies. Yesterday on TikTok, when this one sensible person with a voice of reason in all these other voices said, how can people live like that? She said, well, you just spend all of your money and you don't have any money for emergencies. She goes, I've got an emergency fund. And the way that people were attacking her, like, you're lost, you're clueless. I just did a little like, because I thought I'm not getting involved in this debate because I know where this is going, but I gave her a little like, and I said to her, you're not lost, and I said to her, what you've said makes sense, because the point is, you just can sleep at night when you've got an emergency fund. Your emergency fund, you know, ideally they say it should be 3 to 6 months of your salary. Most people can't do that. I can't even probably do that, like to have 3 months worth, 6 months worth, but you can have something. Having something is better than having nothing. You know, having a plan of a little bit of money in your pension pot, or having a plan of, I start to think, you know, sometimes about, okay, well, where are you going to live at a certain age? How much money are you going to need to live off? what type of lifestyle will you be having in 5 years' time, in 10 years' time, in 20 years' time? There's nothing wrong with reflecting on all of that stuff. Yeah, it might be boring. Young people, especially like people in their 20s, because I'm, I don't think I was ever like that in my 20s, but they just have like an unrealistic expectation of life, and they just have a way of thinking that I can't even relate to, because I'm thinking, they think that they're going to be 20 forever. So when you start talking about things that they would consider as boring, like money or savings or financial stuff, then they start to like think, oh, why should I bother about that? I'm going to go on another holiday next week. And that's fine, because you've got to live life. And I'm not saying don't go out for brunch. When I'm on TikTok and I'm looking at all these brunches, I'm the same person that will go out and book brunch at a place that I've seen on recommended. But one of the things, thanks, Mazza, similar to me, Mazza. I'm one of the people that I will never, I've been in, when you've been in debt, and I've been in debt, I used to have credit cards, I used to have loans, I used to have an overdraft. The worst feeling in the world is owing someone money and knowing that you can't pay them back. And when the creditors used to be phoning on a Sunday, that's when I thought, I've had enough of this. I had Barclaycard, that's what I had. And that wasn't even loads of money. You're talking £5,000 was like £1,000, sorry, on Barclaycard. Then I had Capital One. This is, you're talking maybe 5-6 years ago. What was it, 10 years? Not even, yeah, it must have been 8 years ago, because I'm thinking where I used to live. Barclaycard, Capital One, I remember had 2 of them. And then I had, what was the other one? Halifax, yeah. So I had 3 credit cards. They were all like between 1,000, 1,600, little amounts, but still. It's fine when you get that money because you're spending it, you're showing off, you're like, yeah, I can buy this, I can do this, I can do that. Once you then realise that you're not going to be able to pay the full balance at the end of the month, so then you look at the interest, then you look at the charges, then you look at all of this, and then you realise that even if you're paying 30 or 40 or 50 pounds every month, that's all being taken on the charge. That's when that started to happen, and when they started to phone me and I used to start getting irritated, I just said to myself, I don't need this, I don't need this stress. So I cut up the cards, I phoned all the companies and they froze all the interest, and I started putting bulk money into paying it off. And then from that day onwards, I said, I don't want a credit card. And you know what? Life would be easier with a credit card. I'm not even going to lie. Life would be easier with an overdraft. Life will be easier with loans. I know that, but I don't want to live like that. So my planning for the future is, whether it means I put £2, £3, £5 into these emergency funds and into my savings accounts, whether it means I've already decided I'm not doing any short breaks until at least May. So it was going to be April. We're already in March, and I've decided that there's other things that I need to put my money towards. And apart from the occasional, I've booked a few like outings. I'm going to be going for lunch, going for brunch, going for dinner. I don't need to go on short breaks and holidays right now. That's not a priority for me. And yes, I'll go on like my family WhatsApp group. I'll go on TikTok. I'll go on Instagram and see everyone, all my friends, family, all sorts of people are going on holidays. That's not to them. You know what I mean? I can't say that I'm just going to do that because everyone else is doing it. I've decided July, August, my birthday's in August, so I always go away for my birthday. May, June, July, August, I'm going to take 4 short breaks, then I'm going to take another one in October, and then I might take another one in December. Now, because they're so far away, this is where the planning and preparation comes in. By the time I get to those, to May, I'll have enough money to pay for short break outright. I won't have to pay it in instalments. I could make a decision to just say, yeah, I need a break right now, but I'm using my money in a different way. This is where you have to be a mature person. And I'm not saying anyone's irresponsible if they're just going off like doing things that they want to do. Think about the fact of it, the amount of interest you're paying on like credit cards, and then you've got places like Klarna, you've got people who's going to give you loans. This is the time where everyone's pushing loans onto you. They know that people are struggling, but you need to decide what type of struggle you want. Sometimes I say to myself that, yeah, it would be easy to do certain things because then, yeah, I'll be happy for momentarily. But every time in the past where I've made an impulsive decision, where I've borrowed money from, whether it's family, borrowed money through a credit card, borrowed money through a loan, I've never felt happy because you just, it's a temporary happiness. Even I got a graduate loan when I graduated from university. I needed it because I came out of university. I had a job offer, but you know, you've built up loads of debt when you've been at university. You get the money and you feel good at the time. You buy the furniture for your house. You do all the stuff, but then it's not worth it. The compensation at the end of it, Alexia, is not worth it. So what I'm saying to people really is you have to defer short-term this is a step, I can't remember how it goes. You defer short-term pleasure temporarily, and you see the bigger picture, and it just feels a lot better. When I went on holiday to the Seychelles, I saved for a year. I booked the holiday and I paid it off. It took me a year to pay it off. Every month that I was putting money towards the holiday, I was thinking, do you know what? At least this is money that I've earned. I'm putting the money towards the holiday. And then when I get back, I don't have this big bill, or I don't have a credit card bill waiting because I've been on holiday. It's all paid for, so it's all sorted. This is the feeling really to me that is more important. Deferring gratification, you know, deferring things that will make you feel good at the time, but then afterwards you're sitting there and regretting it. And that's what most people are doing. They're not going to say that on TikTok. They're not going to say when they come back from their holiday and they've, you know, spent loads of money that they didn't have, and the credit card bill, and they can't afford it. She did say on the TikTok that she had no milk in her fridge, had no food, but that she just booked a holiday. She doesn't know how she's going to pay for it. And I think I just thought, I can see why as well. And as a counsellor, I can see the other side of it is people are escaping from like the lives that people are not happy. But you know what? It's not, the two things are not linked. You don't have to be happy all the time. And happiness, you will have short-term temporary happiness, but then you're exchanging it for stress. Because the amount of people that are more stressed because of not having money or not having, you know, the things that they need. Someone's put something about religious things on there. I'm not religious anyway, but it's still not, I don't know why they've put that, in case other people are religious and they see that. So the thing to think about really, again, is just planning and preparation is really important. Let's just see, because we got... Oh, hang on. Sorry, I'm trying to do lots of things at the same time. Okay. So, yeah, so the thing to think about really is just to just plan, financial planning. These are just before I end, because as I said, I didn't want to go too much into this. The thing to think about is to be consistent, to think about your lifestyle now, and how you can cut back on certain things so that in 12 months' time, so that in 2 years' time, the lifestyle that you're living isn't, bringing you down. So certain things do you actually need? You know, the only time I borrowed money in the last few years was when my laptop broke and I needed a laptop straight away. I needed it same day. I can't make a living without a laptop, so I borrowed money off my sister for that. And then when my car broke down, and even though I had some money in my emergency fund, it was really expensive, so I needed to borrow a bit more, again from family, and I paid them back. So the way to think about it is, if you start cutting back on certain lifestyle things now, you'll get used to it. You know, when I go out for a coffee now, or I go out with friends, or I do a massive thing like a short break, I appreciate it a lot more because I've had to wait for it. And that's why, like, for me, there's always going to be things to do. There's always going to be things to buy. It's like in winter. This is the first winter that I've really gone easy with like my wardrobe, and I haven't spent loads of money. I used to spend £700 to £800 on shopping trips, and not even think about it. But then I've looked at my wardrobe this winter, and I thought I've got loads of clothes that I haven't even wore. I've wore this top here once before, and I bought this ages ago. So you have to try and think to yourself, are the things that you keep saying that you need, do you actually need them? Go through your wardrobe and start saying, well, you know, maybe I can still wear this a few more times. Think about, do you need to buy extravagant things? Do you need to go out every Sunday for Sunday dinner? I mean, I don't get that either. This is a British thing, maybe. I think it is. If I go out to eat, so this is just me, and I want everyone else to say what they think as well. So the things I don't go out to eat for, never go out to eat for. I'll never order salad on a menu because I don't get the point. I don't even eat salad at home, but if I do, it's like a side dish at the side. But I would never go out and order a salad. I'm never going to go out for Sunday dinner because I don't get the point. Like it's something you would make at home. The only things I go out to eat when I'm eating out, really, if I'm having a meal, is steak. Because steak is something which I don't mind paying the big money for. Burgers, but it has to be, as I said, not just a normal burger, but the really expensive burgers that are used, the best meat. What's it called? Fish. So I'll have the sea bass, but also if I go to like African places, they'll do I can't remember the name of the fish, but anyway, they'll cook it the way that I want it. So there's that as well. There's certain things I'm only going to go to a restaurant to eat, which are things that I wouldn't normally eat at home or prepare myself, and it takes like more effort and preparation. But this is the thing, isn't it? It's kind of like you can get stuck into habits of doing things. Maybe for some people, if they go to the local pub for Sunday roast every Sunday, they're used to it. But do they really want to do that? Do they really like that? Do they really need to do that? Same as people who go to coffee shops every single day, and they're just doing it automatically. They're working from the coffee shop because it feels good. But they're spending probably, when I go to a coffee shop, I'm spending a minimum of £10, sometimes £11, and that's on like, you might have one coffee for £5, then you have a cake, that's £5. I remember spending like, I think something like £16-17 in one coffee shop, and I thought, how did I manage that? So this is again about your future. When you're retired, you're going to have all the time in the world to sit in coffee shops, but are you going to have any money to do it because you're going to have spent all your money now? When you're older, or in 5 years' time, maybe you can go on that extravagant safari holiday where it's like £3,000, £5,000, but do you need to work now so that you can have those things? I always think about like the future as a good thing. I'm not the same as like lots of other people where they're viewing the future as hopeless. I see a positive future, but I think now I'm working towards that, so I need to make sacrifices now. So all it really is about is have a think about what you could do now to alter your lifestyle, what you could do now to be planning for that future that you want, what you could do now to cut back on things. And it's all there waiting for you, but you have to decide. But if you're going to live in this fast-paced, rushing, where you have no belief in the future, where you just think, I'm going to spend it all, you only live once, I'm going to make like really rash decisions, I'm going to be impulsive. You can live like that, because I'm not here to tell you not to, but there's going to be a lot of regret in the future. There really is. There's no way around it. If you live fast and like in that way, where you're just spending, where you're just making certain decisions, you're not taking things seriously, it catches up with you. It just does. There's no way of getting around it. So thank you to everyone that joined. I can see that there's a few comments. Let me see. I think I've read the comments that are already on here. And yeah, thanks for joining on this live stream. The next thing I'm going to be doing, I've got a few little meals coming up and little things like that. I've made a few. If you go to some of my shorts videos, then you'll see that I've put a few things on there. I'm also doing this healthy drinking thing as well. So let me know as well, guys, if you've been watching this challenge that I'm doing for this month, and I'm probably going to continue it for April as well, of the healthy drinks. Which drink out of all the drinks that I've reviewed do you feel is the best one, or have you tried? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Thanks for watching. Thanks for joining on the live stream, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.